So today is Women's Equal Pay Day, which highlights the gender wage gap, and it represents how far into the next year a woman must work to earn what men did the previous year. So with that in mind, I think it's critical for women to support women in environments that pin us against each other. So if we're competing with each other to get to the top, then we're not actively fighting against the system that is designed for us to compete with each other, right? And in my experience, while I do believe that we all need to keep fighting the good fight to make systems changes, I also believe that in the present moment, we, woman to woman, have the power to impact change at the micro level. And I want to share a quick story of my experience in corporate America. So at the last Fortune 50 company that I worked at, I was promoted pretty quickly. So I was promoted within 8 months. It was a 2-level promotion, and that sounds great. Except, I'm an HR professional. And I know how these things work. There's some, percentage caps. So it doesn't matter how much you get promoted or how fast you get promoted. You can't get past a certain percentage increase. And so because I did a 2-level jump, that actually created salary compression. That's what it's called. And then after that 2-level promotion within 8 months, 2 years later, I got promoted again to a manager level. Again, positive, right? But internally, they had these market salary ranges. And because I got promoted so quickly, I was under the range. And, I really, when people say, well, women just don't negotiate enough, they don't advocate for themselves, it's BS. I've negotiated every single time I've gotten a promotion, a raise. I negotiate now with clients and contracts. We just get told no more often. Like that is statistically proven. So I tried to negotiate and I got the same response. Well, we have this cap. We're offering you the top of the range, so this is what it is. Okay, fine. A year later, I was suddenly the senior person on the team because my colleague went on maternity leave, my director went to another role, somebody else left to another team. And so I went from being a manager that had these responsibilities to absorbing the work of my director to filling in the gap for the person on maternity leave and training the person that was going to replace them. So I was doing like the equivalent of like 3 headcounts, right? And I felt like I was underpaid already, and now I was underpaid and overworked.
Right.
And, I know that inequity is a big trigger for me. So anytime that I feel like I'm in a space where there's inequality, I blame it on my Cuban background. I have to say something, I have to advocate for myself and for other people. And so luckily, I had been sponsored by the organization to go through a women's leadership program. And in that program, I met an alumni of the program who was also a part of the organization. And in a coffee chat with her, I shared how I felt underpaid and what was going on. And she helped me prepare a business case for asking for a salary increase. Now, I'm an HR professional. I know how these things work. We have an annual performance evaluation process. That's when you get your compensation and your bonuses. That happens once a year. Asking for an off cycle salary increase is unheard of. That typically doesn't happen. It's usually a no, you have to wait for next year. But I knew I couldn't wait for next year because I would be sitting in my seat stewing that I didn't advocate for myself. And so, with the help of this wonderful woman, I created a business case. And then to add to the mix, I also didn't have any leadership. Everybody was gone from this department. So I didn't have a director to advocate for me. I didn't have a VP to advocate for me. I had to go 4 levels above to the senior HR business partner with my little deck to ask and to present the case of here's why I think I'm being underpaid, here's the market range, here's the role, etc. And when I finished making my presentation, she said, first of all, I want to thank you for coming in here super prepared. I know that it's not easy, and I know that as a woman, and she was a woman of color at that. She said, so I I acknowledge that these are hard conversations to have, and you're coming in here super prepared because a man would have just come in here and asked for more money. Right. She literally said that to me. She said, you know what? I absorbed this team. I had no idea what the salaries were. So thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'm going to go talk to who I need to talk to, and I'll circle back by this date. And she did. and I got a salary increase off cycle. Thank you. Now, it wasn't a system change that helped me earn more money. The system didn't change. The system was working against me. All of the things, right? The salary, off cycle, the caps. The moral of the story is that even in competitive environments and in inequitable systems, we have the power to advocate for ourselves and for each other. So it wasn't the system change that helped me. It was these women of color who advocated for me, who helped me prepare. And that's what we have to do for each other. So we're always going to be in environments that are competitive. It's a competitive marketplace right now. A lot of people are having a difficult time finding their next career opportunity, their next client. And so instead of being in competition with each other, it's finding the opportunity to collaborate. Hey, let's all get a piece of this pie. Yeah. It's finding opportunities that don't exist by collaborating. Let's build our own table, right. The whole room at that. And it's finding opportunities to put each other in different spaces, to say each other's names in rooms where we're not in, right. To advocate for each other. That's what's helped me in my career, and certainly now as a business owner, all of the opportunities. I think all of my current clients have been referrals, right? Somebody in my network, right? And that's a testament to people who really advocate for us. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents. We have the power to advocate for each other, and we should.
Thank you. We have the power to advocate for ourselves. So now I'm going to open it up to Q&A. So if there's a microphone, I think that will be going around. So does anybody want to start it off? You can raise your hand, stand up. Oh. Feel free to stand up. Yeah. And if you can just say who the question is for, and if you introduce yourself and say who the question is for.
Yes, hi, my name is Maria. I'm the Director of Continuing Education and Professional Development at Berkeley College. Thank you so much for an exciting morning. Happy to be here. So my question for each of you is, if you could share what you think about in the morning, or what motivates you when you're going to be having a challenging day. A book that you read, a song that you listen to, what kind of gets you going when you know you might have a challenging day?
Thank you for that question. Well, my son, that's my number one motivation. But besides that, when it comes to tools like that, I listen to podcasts a lot. I'm a podcaster. I listen to Mel Robbins. I love her. That's my yes. And I read the Bible. So that helps me. And like I said earlier, saying affirmations in the morning and being grateful, and even though I know it's gonna be a hard day, but in my mind, it's like something good is gonna happen. Like mi expectativa, like I'm expecting something good to happen that day. And even if it's the littlest thing, like, oh, look, that was nice, like it could have been worse. So yes, that's my 2 cents.
It's awesome. I would say for me, when it comes to just like making sure that I have a good day, honestly, just like being with my parents, like my family, like my little brother. If we have time, like we'll, like eat breakfast, like vamos a desayunar juntos, like we're gonna have cafecito and like we're going to, have that quality family time. And it just always reminds me of when I was in elementary school, in middle school, even in high school. And, some things never change. And this is one of those things that I wouldn't want to change in some ways just because it's so important. Like, I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for the way that I was brought up and the values that my parents instilled in me of, giving back and also just embracing being innovative and doing it in a way that is also centered on my experiences and my community's experiences. And so I love to just spend quality time. Family is really important to me. And besides that, just also like self care, going to the gym and using that time just for myself is really important so that then I have all the energy to go into a classroom and do a workshop and do like bilingual movement songs with the students. So it's really fun. We have a lot of fun. And yeah, it's definitely important to also pour into yourself so that then whether it's from an education role or whatever industry you're in, you can really be present and pour back into, those people that you're supporting and that you're empowering.
I want to be a part of your family. It's so cute. So I do a lot of leadership coaching with founders that is grounded in emotional intelligence, and a lot of that work is about nervous system regulation. And I try to practice what I preach. So uh, a couple of things that I do, and every day looks differently, but I know it's going to be a hard day. Like, unfortunately, a part of the work that I do in HR sometimes is terminating people, and that has a big impact. That's hard. It's hard because you know what that impact of that is going to be on somebody else's life. And so I sort of arm myself with positivity. So I have a gratitude journal practice. So I have this like 5-minute gratitude journal where literally 5 minutes, 3 things that you're grateful for today. What are 3 things that are going to make the day great? And, like a mantra for the day. And then I wear these little bracelets from Little Words Project. She's actually a Latina founder from New Jersey, Mexicana, first generation Mexican American. And they're just like power words as reminders. Like today, I'm wearing good energy, purpose, blessed, I have trust. So, depending on the mood, I equip myself with the positive words for the day because it's all a mind, it's mindset, right? Yes. And then it's also body. I think as women, we are always go, 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 and our bodies are often responding before our brains have the opportunity to catch up. And so breath work is something that really helps me. And it doesn't have to be a big to do. I don't do meditation and yoga, like that doesn't work for me. But just taking a couple of intentional breaths helps to emotionally regulate. It actually, the science is that it reduces the cortisol that your brain produces. And if you can just take a deep breath in, right? Like, how good did that feel? Instantly it lowers the cortisol level in your brain. So I do that, especially in the days that it's going to be a little bit tough when I'm about to jump on a Zoom call that might be a little bit difficult. I take a couple of breaths. I recommend it to all of you. It's free to use, and people can't discern if you're taking intentional breath, right? Like you could do it under your breath and nobody tells the difference, and it really helps those responses. So instead of having an emotional response, if you can just take a breath, it really does help to minimize that. So those are a few of the tools that help me and help a lot of my clients.
Hello.
Hi.
My name's Maria Natal. I am from born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I'm an upcoming entrepreneur. I'm in the health insurance field. And for me, it's been very important to build leadership and confidence. Okay, that's something I'm struggling with in our community, is building confidence in people that I see leadership skills in. So one of my questions to you all is, what kinds of resources are available for the upcoming entrepreneur that can help them with their mindset, also help them with some type of financial assistance, stability, and things like that. And also, let's include time management. Oh, one more thing. If you can, please, I would like if each of you can share your handles where I can follow you guys and things like that.
Thank you for asking that.
I love that. I love your glasses too. Mel Robbins. I just love Mel Robbins. Like she has so many amazing guests when it comes to, changing your mindset. That's one of the things that I've been trying to do the past 12 months, the past years. Because like I said, I have a lot of roles now by myself. And she is my go-to girl, and I hope to become Mel Robbins versión dominicana one day. Pero my project is called En Victoria, which you could find on social media. It's Victoria Sosa T47. I still have the T47 from Telemundo, even though I'm not there because Mira no me deja cambiarlo. It doesn't let me change it. What are we gonna do about that, boss? So yeah, so Victoria Sosa 347, that's my handle. And when it comes to because I know I see what you're saying, and I've been there. I've seen people, even family members, that I see so much potential, pero que they don't see it in them. Número uno, at the end of the day, it has to come from them, and they have to have that revelation of, okay, yo puedo hacer esto, right? Pero when it comes to like tools, honestly, Mel Robbins, trust me, you'll find something there, and that's gonna help.
So I'll start with my handles. So I'm on LinkedIn. It's just my full name, Daniela Palacios, and ParaKIDS, Kids, KIDS. We have a LinkedIn page. Our Instagram and Facebook is Para Kids Books, ParaKidsBooks. And in terms of the question about time management and just like having and developing confidence, I would say that definitely join the chamber, right? Like I feel like that's like a really good like first step if you haven't already.
Yes.
And like I mentioned before, I was very intentional about, even though I knew I was the youngest, I also was extremely ambitious and curious when I joined both of those programs, and I really wanted to absorb as much as I could, both from my coaches, from the actual lessons and frameworks that we learned through every module, and then also just from my peers that were in that cohort with me. So I would definitely recommend that, whether it's those programs or other programs that are New York based that focus on New York entrepreneurs. I feel like that incubator and like that intentional space is a really great way for you to, get those actionable steps towards creating your entrepreneurial endeavor. But also, I feel like it really does help grow your confidence as well, because as you connect with your peers and hopefully, through these different sessions, perhaps you can, practice elevator pitches either during, the program or even afterwards. You can find a couple of people and really just make yourself uncomfortable. This was something that was said before, and I completely agree. There have been so many things that I have done as an entrepreneur and also just as a person in general, because I knew that even though it was so uncomfortable in that moment, and the last thing I wanted to do was that, I forced myself to do it because I knew that that was going to allow me to grow. And it's definitely paid off, being able to even speak at this stage now. I was a former ESL student, no hablaba inglés, and it really does show how even students as well, like really even empowering them at the student level, it's like raising your hand, asking that question, and talking to someone like myself, for example, if you want to talk to me after the panel, coming up to that person and asking for information or asking to connect, messaging someone on LinkedIn for a coffee chat to learn more about them. That's something that I still do because I continue to be curious. And I feel like that really is what's going to, set people apart from the typical person, is that they're constantly curious. They want to learn from people, with people, and they want to build those connections. So I would definitely also say LinkedIn has been such a really great resource. And I would recommend that you find individuals that are in your industry or even have a really strong personal professional brand and exude that confidence that you would like to have, and just try to connect with them. Maybe they're having some speaking engagement.
Right.
Maybe you can try volunteering with them and learning from them through that like action in person type of setting. But really just like always think big and just like always do that outreach, send that email, send that LinkedIn message. That's what I've been doing, and I will continue to do that because it's gotten like great ROI.
Well, first of all, congratulations on becoming an entrepreneur. Welcome to this side. It's wonderful over here. We'd love to have more people. I would say that it's never a lack of resources. There are a ton of resources out there, a ton, and you've heard a few already. I can mention a few more. Besides from the Hispanic Chamber, there's chambers all across, all different types of chambers across the state of New Jersey. There's nonprofit organizations that do a lot of personal and professional development. There's online communities like Jefa Circle, United Latinas, Entreprenista. There's always resources available to us. It's really about making the time and seeing it as an investment in yourself, because I don't know that we're always taught that we deserve those investments, that we should be investing in leadership coaching and in a speaking coach. I have like 3 coaches right now. That's my biggest investment, is into my own professional development. And you will see the benefits of that when you make those investments. And there's also a ton of free resources too if you're not in a position where you can make those investments yet. What you said about confidence, I want to call out, is that confidence, contrary to popular belief, it's not something that is innate, that you're just born with it, like Maybelline. I think confidence is a muscle. And the more you practice putting yourself out there, like asking a question or being on a panel or doing things that make you a little bit uncomfortable, you start with, a baby step in the discomfort, and then you grow from there. And it's like when you go to the gym, you do 5 pound weights, and then next thing you know, you're at the 10 pounds. So you become more confident as you push yourself out there to do more things. So that's what I would encourage you to do is take advantage of all the free resources. There's a ton of them. You can find most of them online, talk to people and see what has helped them and get those recommendations, but really take the time to pour into yourself and make those investments. And then you can find me on LinkedIn as well and on Instagram at my full name, Anyelis Cordero. My business is on Instagram, Propel on Purpose. And I'll invite you one more time, propelonpurpose.com/leadership to take that emotional intelligence assessment. So would love for you to take it and see how you're doing in your leadership journey. But thank you so much for asking that question.
I know she also asked about financial resources before we go into the next question. Entreprenista, they're always sharing grants and for Hispanic business owners and things like that all the time. They're always sharing grants that you could apply for and get, some cash flow.
And just a reminder too, sometimes it's a lot of different conversations. Don't get discouraged because you have one conversation with someone and something doesn't happen. It's a lot of conversations, a lot of coffee meetups, a lot of messaging on LinkedIn, and it's kind of working at it too. That's how great things come. So just don't be discouraged because something doesn't happen when you reach out to someone one time or they don't reach out back to you. It's nothing personal. Sometimes it takes time. So, and our last question.
I know. Don't give me the stink eye. We're running out of time. For you? Oh, well, keep it going. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Susan Whites, and you guys gave gem this morning, okay?
Thank you, Suzanne.
So my question is, during the pandemic, which was only 6 years ago, they had the terminology pivot. So we continuously had to pivot in our careers, in our personal life, et cetera, et cetera. My question is, today in 2026, how the climate is not only here in New Jersey, federally, but globally, that and with artificial intelligence and technology that impacts in our personal professional life, what is it that you want to share with us? I would like to hear from everyone, maybe in 10 seconds or 30 seconds, that truly could make an impact. And I like what you share about the North Star, the passion projects, because sometimes people forget about having a passion project in their life.
Right.
But going with how the times are right now, what's an empowerment word that you could share? Because, like the theme says, empowered women empower the world, and that's who you guys are right now on the stage. Thank you.
So thank you. Yes, 2020 was definitely a time of change and pivot. And I mean, I had no choice but to pivot. My dad passed. I had just given birth. It was just like this shift from like 100 to 0. Um, and right now, 6 years later, which is when I'm otra vez, like breathing. I could say that just focusing on one thing at a time and understanding that there's only so much we can control, you know. I'm very, a mí me gusta controlar mis, like, okay, I sleep from this time to this time, and then I take a shower from this time to this time. But life doesn't work like that. I've learned that it doesn't work like that. So I've had to change that. So ahora it's more about adapting. And I think that's the word that I am embracing this year, just adapt. And that's the situation that you're given, and that's the way God wants your life to be. So you have to adapt. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the fact that you mentioned the pivot. And similar to what this event is called, the art of the modern Latina, I really do believe that there is an art to pivoting, whether that is from an entrepreneurship context or even for corporate professional people out there or even in academia. And so I want to focus on how you also mentioned, the modern world and AI as well. And I definitely feel like AI or artificial intelligence is something that clearly has a lot of potential. It's already been changing landscapes and dynamics, both from the entrepreneurship perspective and corporate perspectives as well. And I would really encourage you and everyone here to really think about how they can leverage AI for your passion project or whatever it is that you're focusing on, whatever that looks like, and, specific quarterly goals or fiscal year goals that you have for your organization or for yourself and your team. It really has been all about just like learning new skills from how do you prompt AI properly? How do you use all these different new innovative tools? And really seeing it from the perspective where you really want to obviously scale with intentionality and sustainability. So how can you use those tools as well? So I would definitely recommend, especially if you're a solopreneur, which like I'm like a solo entrepreneur. So, it's definitely a lot of thoughts that I have, and I've had to learn a lot of things and wear a lot of hats. And now with AI, it's like really learning about how to use those platforms and using it as a tool in my toolkit. So I would definitely recommend that you really look into that, but always, like I mentioned before, your North Star, making sure that it aligns with your North Star, it aligns with your priorities for every quarter, and, experiment, but also be cautious because it really is about how you use the tool, and proper prompting and things of that nature really matter. So, really make sure that you always stay mission driven, and then you will be able to really scale with impact and sustainably. Thank you.
So two things come to mind. So I think when we think about pivot, sometimes we think that it has to be like a major pivot, and it can be a slight pivot. It might not need to be an entire career change. Maybe you just need to look for a different organization to work in. It might not be a complete revamp to your business model. Maybe you just need to open up a different service. So think about, to your point, what is the intention behind this pivot? And that's the second thing. The reason why my business is called Propel on Purpose. And people used to say, oh, Propel to Purpose. It's like, no, purpose isn't the destination, it is part of the journey. So sometimes we move so fast, and we have to respond fast sometimes, especially in entrepreneurship. Like, you have to, be able to pivot quickly when things aren't working. But you also need to pause. And I believe in the power of a pause, to take a step back and to really reflect and slow down instead of making, decisions based on survival mode or just reaction to what's happening around you. It's, well, what is this trying to teach me? What do I really want to get out of this? What's the intention behind this? And is it aligned with my values? Is it aligned with the kind of career that I want to have, the kind of business that I want to create, the impact that I want to make? And I think it's so important for us to practice the power of that pause, and to not just be reactionary and in response to what's happening outside of us, but for us to propel on purpose. Pop, pop, pop.
I love that. So unfortunately, that's all our time. I want to give this outstanding, again, I use that word because you guys really are outstanding, inspirational, wise, relatable panel a big round of applause.
So when I
Thank you.
I also want to just recognize Christina Schwartz, the former New York Telemundo
La
president.
jefa, come
Yes.
on.
Stand up, please. Stand up. Welcome, welcome. All right. So again, if you want to learn more about all of these wonderful panelists, please check out that QR code. The chamber has a lot of events. We talked about networking and connecting. Take a look on social media. Remember to post and use those hashtags about today so you can spread awareness and also learn more about the upcoming events. All right.
Remember when you mentioned giving flowers. When you give flowers, please use Santos flowers. Please. Donors and those from Colombia, Ecuador.
Those are four.
Before we finish, I just want to mention a few people that arrived in the past few minutes. We have Living and Marisol Medina here with us today. We also have bear with me, Sarah Soy, who is the first Somerset County Commissioner, the first Latina county commissioner. We have Mary Joel Duran too, the 5 times award winning Emmy award winning, 18 times nominated. Millie Peralta from Jersey City, New Jersey City University. Carol Cuadrado from William Patterson University. And we have Aidida Rodriguez, which is a founder of the chamber and also a board member. That is a pleasure for us to have you here. You know, we also have Guillermo Di Vega from St. Peter's University. And if I miss someone, it's my responsibility. You know, they provide me those names and I forget to mention before. But welcome.